I want to make 3 points in this video, which aren't about doing additional things to help the work of the Rare Breeding Bird Panel, but they're just 3 pointers to make your birdwatching activity, the birdwatching you're routinely doing, more valuable, to help the work of the Rare Breeding Birds Panel in monitoring our rarest breeding birds and thus helping their conservation. So just 3 tips, 3 pointers in how you can improve what you do. Now, to be honest, these points are fairly obvious. You may already have them in mind, but they're worth stating. So number 1, just remember, it's the breeding season. It's now May, so we're in the peak of the breeding season. So more or less any bird you see, unless it's obviously a migrant still en route to the breeding grounds, may be potentially a breeding bird. So that goes for all the species covered by the Rare Breeding Birds Panel. If you see them in potential breeding habitat this time of year, you've got to think to yourself, could they be breeding? Even if they're on their own and they've been unsuccessful in attracting a mate, are they attempting to breed? Why else would they be in breeding habitat this time of year? So that includes resident species. If you see a goshawk or a woodlark or a lesser spotted woodpecker in May, wherever it is, that bird will be trying to breed. And of course, some species aren't necessarily that obvious that they're trying to breed. Males might not sing, they might not display. Pairs might not be visible. You might not see other breeding behaviour like carrying food, for example. So you just have to think, could that bird be trying to breed? Could a duck, a shoveler, a pochard loafing on a suitable breeding wetland within the breeding range be a breeding bird? Well, the answer is yes. It should be regarded as at least a possible breeding record, H, a bird in habitat. So you see any of the species that we cover this time of year, we want you to think, could that be a breeding record? Oh, and a little add-on to that point I forgot to say. Familiarise yourself with the list of species that the RBBP covers, because there are some on there which you might not think of as a rare breeding bird, scarce species. So the likes of greenshank and red-breasted merganser and shoveler and pochard and little egret and quail. Species like that, not really rare, at least in some areas, but species we want to know about. So learn the list, have a look on our website, learn the list, remember those species. My second point today is never assume that someone else has submitted a record and so you don't have to. You'd be amazed, horrified at the number of times a county recorder who's submitting data to the RBBP has said to me, well, I know species X was present at site Y, or I suspect it was, but no one submitted a record. Lots of bird watchers will have gone there, but no one has submitted a breeding record to help me report to the RBBP. So submit a record. If you've seen breeding evidence, submit it. You may have seen things that no one else has seen as well, even if others have submitted it. Maybe you were the one who was in the right place at the right time to see an adult bird carrying food to a nest, or see a garganey shuttle between clumps of rushes with a brood, and you're the only one who saw the brood and confirmed breeding. Get it submitted. The worst can happen is that we get duplicate records, and that's no problem at all. So please submit records. Don't assume that someone else has done it. And my third and final point, which we've said many times before, is when you submit a record, include all the details. So location, a recognised site name, better still, a grid reference. And if you know exactly where a species is singing or where a nest is, maybe add a precise location for that. It's easy to add a pinpoint if you're using BirdTrack or eBird, for example, to the exact location. Include numbers, and crucially, include what breeding evidence. Was it just H, a bird in habitat? Was it S, a singing bird? P, a pair? Did you see a bird carrying food? FF. Was there a nest, an occupied nest? ON. Or you know there are eggs, so NE. All these sorts of breeding evidence. Include that information. Include extra, additional information. This morning I saw 9 shovelers. I could submit a record of 9 shovelers. That wouldn't be an awful lot of use to my county bird recorder, Tim Dean. I will let him know that there were a pair. And in addition, there were another 7 males. 5 of those males were also chasing the paired female around. 2 were just loafing nearby. In fact, in terms of breeding evidence, that's 1 pair and 7 possible breeding pairs because of those males, H in habitat. So if I tell Tim that in my submission is a far more useful bit of information than just a count of 9 shovelers. So think of that sort of thing. Provide the detail. So remember to be aware that birds might be breeding this time of year. So if you see RBBP species, think about submitting them. Don't assume someone else has submitted them, and include all that valuable information to make the most of your observations for monitoring these species and helping their conservation. Thank you.